Hello, welcome to another video. My name is Zorro Carioca, codename Zoka, and today I'm going to show you a game that I played while I was streaming. Every now and then you hear that one of the principles of the opening is trying to control the center. And today I'm going to show you a game that shows how important it is to have control of the center in the opening. Also, you are going to see some ideas, some ways of thinking that you should have on the middle game, so you can try to build an attack, to build a plan to win the game. So this game started with e4, c5, Sicilian defense, by the way, knight f6, g6. This is the hyper accelerated dragon variation, which I like to play. And here my opponent immediately strikes in the center with the move d4. This is a very good move. And after takes, white has to choose if he's going to retake with the knight or with the queen. Both of them are playable. Taking with the knight is a little bit better, but here he took with the queen and that's fine. I mean, there is nothing wrong about this. Taking with the queen has the idea of attacking my rook. So I have to respond to that. So I played knight f6, blocking the attack to my rook. And here, white usually plays e5 or knight c3. But I don't know what my opponent thought on that position, and he played the move queen back to d1. I mean, the queen wasn't attacked. So here comes a golden rule for you to try to put on your games. Do not play moves backwards unless there is a reason for that. In this position, the queen wasn't attacked, so it didn't need to move backwards. Furthermore, the pawn was attacked. I mean, the pawn is attacked. It was defended by the queen. So this move allows black to play knight takes e5. And now black will have, from this point, more control to the center due to the fact that he gains one of white's pawns that was on the center. And the objective of this game is to show you how this little pawn will make a big difference in white's play. Of course, white is not losing. There is a lot of game to play, but having less control of the center will certainly help black in this position. So he played knight b to d2. I could take the knight, but I didn't like the idea of yes, I'm a pawn up, but he had 1, 2, 3 pieces already in the game, while my knight was my only active piece. So I didn't want to trade my only active piece to have none and have all my other pieces on the back rank. That's why when he offered me the trade, I went back to f6. He played b3. I played bishop to d7. He played bishop to b3. Okay, logical moves. He decided to develop his bishop on the big diagonal, probably trying to contest my bishop in the future. And now here, I want you to stop and think, what is the plan for black and what is the plan for white? If you want to improve your game, you have to try to understand both sides' plans and see how they can execute them then. For instance, for black, the plan is to put both pawns on the center, develop the knight, develop the bishop somewhere, and castles. This is the plan, the next moves for black. White, on the other hand, might develop his bishop, castle kingside, and maybe play c4 to contest some d5 black pawn in the center. Or he can play queen e2 and castle on to develop the rook. That's another plan, possible plan. So in that way, when you try to think in a plan, you will play logical moves that will allow you to make that plan possible, and not just playing random moves. Here I play the move d5, putting a pawn in the center, open the lines of my bishop, light squared bishop, and this move allowed my opponent to play bishop to b5 check. He developed with a tempo. That's a good move. I blocked the check with the knight because I didn't want to trade bishops. I just wanted to develop a knight and block the check. He castled, I castled, and here the next imprecision of the game is bishop takes knight. Now, bishops usually are better than knights because they are long-range piece. They can see squares from distance, so they are very valuable pieces, usually better than knights. If you trade your bishop by for your opponent knight, you have to have a good reason for that, and in that position there is no need to do that. And in fact, this trade only helps black because you get rid of your light square bishop. This means that my bishop will have more control of the light squares. There will be no contestant for it. And furthermore, when this pawn takes, it reinforces the d5 pawn on the center. So do not forget that black is already up a pawn. So one of the ideas of white's position here is to play the move c4, not necessarily right now, but c4 is a move to contest my pawn in the center. So in some positions, this move should be played. But when he does this trade, c4 is not scary anymore because whenever he takes, I'm gonna take back because I have a pawn here. So that helps black. So he developed his rook, I developed my bishop, and here he attacked my bishop. Now, usually, if you can attack your opponent's pieces and force them to go back, this is usually good. But the problem here is that after I go back with my bishop to d7, the knight is loose. In chess, we usually avoid losing pieces because they can be easily attacked, and when they are attacked, you probably are going to spend one tempo defending them or moving them from the attack. In fact, the best move here in this position is knight back to f3. But here my opponent plays the move bishop d4. You can see that he is struggling finding the right ideas of the middle game. What he should try to do is to develop this rook. I mean, in some way, try to get this knight back, and then play for a pawn break, probably c4. I questioned my opponent why he did the move bishop to d4, and he answered me that he wanted his bishop to be more active. So, because he said that, I want to explain you that you don't necessarily need to put your bishop on the center of the board to be active. But you might ask, does not pieces on the center more active than on the flank? Yes, they are. But the bishop is a long-ranged piece. And the bishop on b2 is already controlling a nice diagonal. And he's contesting my bishop on g7. It is pretty active already. When you put the bishop on d4, which squares he controls now that he wasn't controlling before? These squares. This is what you control right now with the move bishop to d4. But does this help you in any way? Does this improve your position? No. I mean, this pawn does not need protection, and this pawn on a7 is defended by the rook. So bishop d4 brings the bishop to the center, but it's only this. It does not improve white's position at all. So after this move, I developed my rook. I am preparing the move e5. And here my opponent just took my knight. And this is a mistake. Why? Because when I take back, remember that knight that was loose? Yes. And also, your rook is hanging. So here, my opponent has to move the knight back to f3. And then I took the rook. Funny thing is, bishop takes rook is not the best move. Computer here suggests e5, just taking control of the center. But I want to show you to understand on a strategic point of view that bishop takes knight, it's not a good move. Even if the knight wasn't here, for instance, if here white play, let's go back a few moves. If in this position white's play bishop takes, this is also a bad move. Why is that? Because you have giving away the piece that you have that control dark squares. Once again, bishops are long-ranged pieces, so we want to keep them to control some squares on the board. And if you have a bishop and your opponent doesn't have that bishop of the same color, that means that it's easier for you to control that squares. And in this position, the dark squares are mine, are basically mine. There is no white pieces right now who control the dark squares. So trading bishops for knights, they can be very bad trades when they don't achieve anything concrete. So following what happened on the game, after he took my knight, I took back, he came back, I took the rook, he took off the queen, and then I played f6, preparing the e5 move. And now he played c4. I was so sad when I saw this move, because this move c4 showed me that he had the idea of c4 on his mind. But he probably is playing this right now because he has nothing else to try. This move c4, I mentioned to you, that was one white's idea, but should have been played a few moves sooner. Because here, it really don't make that difference at all. So I play e5, takes, queen comes to the c file, then I put my rook on the c file, place the queen to attack my a7 pawn. I defend it with my queen, and then the next few moves is consolidating my position with trade queens. So I'm up material. My objective here is to play the easiest game possible. So I want to trade pieces so I can win the game easily. Now, this is something you have to keep in mind, how to play with rooks. Rooks had to be put on the open file. Okay? So here, after this continuation, if you succeed to put your rooks on an open file, it's very interesting to put them on the second rank of your opponent. If you're black, this is rank number 2, and if you're white, it's rank number 7. Because rook on the second rank, they are very strong. So I put that, I doubled my rooks on the file, put one of them on the second rank, and then we traded some pieces. I mean, there is no reason to show you and explain every move, because in some moment I won this pawn, and I promote this one to make a queen and win the game. So the key moments of this game, they were this move, queen to d1. He should have kept his pawn defended anyway, because the game could continue with knight here, and if I attacked his queen, he could come back. no problem at all. The pawn is defended. But queen to d1 right away just gives me the pawn. Another critical moment was this bishop takes. Remember, you don't want to give your bishop for no reason. Usually you give your bishop away when you have no option, or when you want to double your opponent's pawns. In this case, nothing of this is happening. In fact, it's only helped me to improve my center pawn on d5. And the other two wrong moves was this both bishop moves to d4, which improves nothing of white's position, and this bishop takes, which is a mistake since he gave me control of the dark squares. And this trade was made on a situation when his knight on h4 was hanging. So I hope this game could show to you how important it is to keep control of the center on the game. In the opening, we usually say that we have to control the center. This means that we have to put pieces, pawns on the center, but also we cannot give them away, which was what happened on this game. Furthermore, trading bishops for knights usually are not good trades. You have to have a good reason for doing that. Usually these reasons can involve some tactical continuation, or you might want to create some weaknesses on your opponents, like if you take your opponent's knight and give your bishop and you double your opponent's pawn, so you have some compensation for this trade. But the way that the trade happened in this game, there was no compensation at all. And after that was just a smooth and an easy conversion to a win. And I hope this game could show you some of the strategical principles that usually is very difficult to understand when you are beginning of chess. But hopefully showing these games in this series could help you to improve your chess and make you better. I hope you liked this video. See ya, my friends.